What is going on, guys? 711 just here back with another best episode for everyone today, and I hope you're enjoying these series of videos. And now we're going to talk about here episodes from seasons 27 to 32, which is Blood vs. Water, Kagian, Sail del Sur, Worlds Apart, Cambodia, and Kalrong. Again, all three seasons 9 aside from Worlds Apart, I think are actually pretty good, so I still hope you're enjoying this video, and I would love to know your favorite episodes from this era's final down question. Just get straight to the list right away, so let's get to the list. Now, coming in at number 10. Definitely a lot of debate when number 10 honestly was going to make it to the actual list. But in the end, I decided I'm going to go with episode, the finale of San Juan del Sur. This is my time. Again, San Juan del Sur is definitely a season I feel like has gotten a lot better with time, obviously. Like, the season that everyone not really loving. I remember like Kakiana was like I remember like Vanuatu was a season that honestly people really did not like at all when it aired. Honestly, but as time goes on, people are going to appreciate it. Well, it obviously has its issues still. Obviously, I definitely go back and forth honestly when I liked this more than that season. Obviously, but it definitely has its high points, and one of those high points I would definitely see high up on this list. And it's in. And one of the points was the finale, obviously, to where it was not the most like epic finale, obviously. It does lead to an obvious finale win, obviously. It was definitely a fair game, though, obviously. Plus that's when John got blindsided, and Jack was obviously pissed and everything. And then we get a fun moment because he keeps winning award immunity, I'm seeing more like key nail moments, obviously, and then. And one it could have been obvious, like Jacqueline boot, obviously, knowing that Bailey missed you or tight duo with the last duo standing, obviously. Now they continue to really just make some impressive moves, obviously, and deciding to play her idol on Jacqueline. And you get that kind of Jacqueline who I told you before. And then she plays out for Jacqueline. But, obviously, the fact that she kind of like backstabbed the last episode, and then I remember thinking I was going to miss you, obviously, because of her broken ankle, but it ended up being Baylor. Even though we get a surprising Jacqueline win, obviously, at the Final Four, and even some interesting intrigue where keep votes going to vote. Like, they could have voted on Nally, obviously, in that time, but it's not to, and then Nally ends up winning, which was a very deserving win. All those aspects combined really to make for a really great finale. And now coming in at number 9, we get the first of two Blood vs. Water episodes on this, obviously. We can also guess what the first one's going to end up being, obviously. The second one is actually Big Bad Wolf. Basically, the episode where Sierra voted out her mom. Like, it's gonna go up beyond that, obviously. We get some fun back and forth between a lot of the players. We get Arnold losing the duel, obviously, with his brother. He's actually coming out top. And we get a little fun back and forth between a lot of the players as well, and a lot of Tyson be Tyson, and Monica being Monica, obviously. And again, we get that iconic moment, basically, Sierra knowing that she's probably going to have to vote on her mom, obviously, just to make it deep into the game. Didn't think she had to do it right then and there, obviously, but yeah, she did. She, well, it's definitely a moment that's kind of like mean to death at this point, obviously. And yeah, his moment is kind of mean to death for a reason, but it's a moment that definitely is a pretty impactful moment, honestly. You can really feel a lot of the emotion, obviously. I remember my reaction to it when I first saw it. I was like, wait, she actually did it? Because again, I know the moment's kind of been mean to death at this point, honestly, but it's definitely a pretty touching and emotional moment, obviously. Like, you really can feel a lot of emotions. And I think this moment, along with the next episode, will really cement Sierra as a really worthy player. Someone that is willing to take these risks and really to do what's right for a game. And again, she pretty much proves that here. And now at number 8, we get to another finale on this list. And that is the finale of Survivor Cambodia, Lie, Cheat, and Steal, which is, again, also played, again, really was that, which I believe is also the first instance actually with 6 people in the finale. I believe this was the first time this happened. Yeah, I believe this is like the first time they actually have 6 people in the finale. Which obviously now is kind of trend for some seasons, obviously, after this, obviously, but it's interesting what's the first time it's kind of happened, obviously. And it makes for a really compelling call. We get the first one, obviously, basically where Kimmy actually ends up, joining with Kelly and Keith to Black Jeremy, and then when Jeremy plays his idol, then Ola played her idol, which leads to a tie vote with no votes, which well, of course, that's not, I feel a little more common nowadays, obviously. It's the first time it's actually happened on Survivor. Like, it was the first, obviously, and then we got another tie vote between Kimmy and Tasha, which reality would have Keith basically voted on to they can't agree to a decision, but Keith even agreeing to basically volunteer to do that. bless Q's heart, by the way. And then in the end, they decided to disagree on Kimmy, and then Kimmy gets voted out. And even then, we get a lot of crazy things happen with the other trap councils. We know basically, they're trying to trick Germany into basically voting Spence by Chris and Keith and Ido, but then Keith get voted out. And then we basically get Germany actually win the final immunity round, so guaranteeing himself a spot in final 3. Spencer basically kind of blowing the door game by telling people that Germany, they're not telling him not to vote Germany if he votes him out. Then Will gets voted out, and then Germany emotionally gets the win by a 10-0-0 vote, which obviously is awarded winner in the award, the second chance team. So yeah, pretty epic finale. And now we get to the number 7. We get to the first Colored Wrong episode on this list. That's what I was expecting to be, obviously. Then you did probably some episodes that weren't going to make this list, but the episode review y'all were expecting to make this list. With number 7 going to is Psychological Warfare, which is episode 9. Which is episode 9. And a truly, really great, a truly damn great episode of Survivor. What's because we get this lot back and forth. We get so many crazy back and forths that you really don't happen. We get freaking Debbie of all people getting blindsided by the end of it. I'm saying a 4v2 vote, honestly, when not to think of Scott and Sydney, and then somehow it just goes straight to Debbie of all people. Like, honestly, it's not really much I can say beyond that, honestly, but it's really up to where the craziness that led to that blindside, a lot of that crazy back and forth that led to that blindside, allowed all that craziness that happened to that. All definitely puts this episode to where it is on this list. And now at number 6, we get to the episode from Blood vs. Water I was talking about, and that is Russell Feathers, which is basically the Purple Rock tiebreaker episode. Again, that alone just puts this episode on this list because again, it's the return of the tiebreaker, that first happened in my cases, which even they back then agreed was probably a mistake, honestly. But again, the Trump Council was so crazy they couldn't really come to an decision on anything. Obviously, they decided to basically, like, hey, let's just freaking do it. Obviously, and it's one of those thinking, how is this going to happen? Obviously, because basically Kate and Katie on the bottom, obviously. And the only hope now was convince Sierra of all people to basically. Well, to convince Sierra to basically join the side, obviously, which you think, oh, there's no way that's going to happen. And I think they're not really ever overheard, then like, oh, the odds are going to, but how that's going to happen, obviously. But yet, somehow, Sierra decided to do it. She decided to basically join Hayden and Katie and basically join them to. Sorry. And they basically joined them, obviously, with Russell's to another deadlock tie, obviously, and another crazy series of events, and then decided to go wrong and answer for freaking Katie of all people, who was Tina's daughter and didn't want to be there, end up getting the rock and getting voted out. There was definitely great ways to try and also to pretty much get rid of Tyson, obviously, but it definitely made for a really crazy series of events. Until while it didn't end up paying off in the end, the moment itself is just really riveting. You really don't know what's going to happen. Like, are they actually going to get rid of Tyson? Are they actually going to get rid of that, obviously? Like, is the move going to backfire? Is that actually going to work? And again, like I said, with the Sierra Royal Mom, this really cemented Sierra as a true game player. So I didn't mind that she was on top game changers, obviously, because, those 2 months were definitely game changing. And now, at number 5, we get to the other Cambodia episode, but nothing episode that you expected, and that is You Call, We Haul, which is basically the Andrew Savage Blindside episode. And honestly, that alone puts this episode high up on the list, because it's one of the best blindsides in the show's history. Like, there's still a lot of fun beyond that, with Steven being Steven, like, think around the time that Steven was actually going to beat the boot in this episode, honestly, even I thought he was going to beat the boots. Getting a lot of relationship building this episode, obviously, and then we get Joe continue to John dominance, and then a lot of the craziness happening before Tribal, and then sign up to Bloodfest for some reason. And then we get the as where Kelly Wentworth plays her idol, and getting 9 votes against her, which at the time was the most negated. Wentworth would not count. 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 9 votes. And enjoy. This moment cemented Kelly Wentworth as a legend of the game. And she just wanted to play on this season that, like, really? And well, she definitely really proved herself in the pre-match, obviously, as a really great play, especially her fighting out of the challenge. This episode really cemented as an all-time legend in the game. This episode really cemented out with Kelly Wentworth. And it ended up being freaking savage to end up getting the blind side on. So again, like I said, I thought it was going to be Steven. I'm pretty sure y'all thought it was going to be Steven. Please tell me it wasn't just me that thought it was going to be Steven. And the rest is history. Now, at number 4, we get to the other Carong episode. So, listen, that is I'm Not Here to Make Good Friends. And yeah, it's an episode, I think there's one extra moment. So, all the episodes definitely was good, great beyond that, with a lot of great character moments, and great bonding moments, obviously. You know, Jason Scott being villains, I end up appreciating more over time. It's kind of a bit fact, Scott actually gets the boot. He expects Ty to basically, use the idol on him. And he's like, nope, nope, nope. Wow. It's just so iconic. It's so just. And I'm like, oh yeah, Scott finally got the booty. Finally got the booty. Yeah. And now at number 3, we finally get to a Kankiana episode. Because obviously Kankiana is going to make this is my favorite Survivor season. It's probably only 2 episodes actually end up making the top 10, but obviously these episodes honestly, like this top 10 is probably like going to make my best 5 episodes of all time when I get to it. Spoilers, by the way. My number 3 being the premiere episode, Hot Golden Coach, is definitely one of the best premieres in Survivor history. While to be like one 2 episode, honestly, you can spend that's a way you can expect from this season, showcasing the disaster of the brain stripe, David too hard getting voted out, and then Garrett thinking he's like so cocky and so eager his time to not actually, like his idol, and also thinking that JT's an obvious mixer and she fall the rice. Like, there's no way they're gonna vote me out. Like, come on, JT can't pull all the rice. Like, it'd be stupid not to do that. I guess the treatment kind of led to basically, cast them all people deciding to pull the trigger on Garrett. Which leads to a hilarious Trump council and a hilarious moment. Again, I think that someone who basically poured out all the rice still stayed at that. It's pretty insane if you think about it. It's crazy if you really think about it. Also, some fun confessionals and some fun stuff, all the characters like Morgan, Alexis, Bryce, Jeremiah, Tony, Sarah, Claire, Lindy, a lot of players from this season, and I'm like big stars at this. Like, yeah, all that stuff leads to a pretty epic premiere. And at number 2, we get to the other San Juan del Sur episode. Again, San Juan del Sur was again another season. I feel like I've gone. Like I said, San Juan del Sur is another season I feel like has a lot of people going to turn to appreciate more as time goes on. One of those episodes is definitely This Is What We Build Trust, which is episode 10. I started with Sex as a Plan. Again, that alone should put this episode in the top 2, obviously. But again, this episode, obviously before that, obviously we've got like 2 iconic blindsides with Josh and Jeremy. And then we get a lot of creative, obviously, what the plan was to blindside John, obviously. And then honestly, the plan would be perfect, obviously. And knowing that how we split up between the Keith and the West. So it's like, hey, let's blindside John. Well, yeah, let's. Both of us going to blindside John, obviously. This also kind of starts like Natalie's revenge arc with John, obviously, which lasts the next couple episodes. And it ends like, and I think the plan was going to call too. Like, oh, John's going to get blindsided, and then Keith was like, and then Reed, and then Reed basically ends up saying some stuff that caused Keith to be confused. Like, honestly, I respected the plan. Which everybody then leads to Natalie to convince John to play his idols, but her obviously she tried to do good revenge, but she wanted to do it herself, I guess. So yeah, she decided to play her idol on John. Obviously, then Keith decided to play his idol and gain his 3 votes. And then unintentionally Alan his own son Wes with the 2 votes from John and Jacqueline. The whole Travaganza was just insane hilarity and craziness that it ended up being. And this is the most like the main song that's for pretty much a very season that's, like I said, it's got a lot of appreciation over time, and moments like this are pretty much why. But now, coming in at number 1, it's the freaking head of the sneak episode from Kakiana. Possibly in debate be my favorite episode of all time. Like, I'm not going to say obviously because I want to wait until I get to the actual list of my favorite episodes. But yeah, Head of the Snake is, like, honestly, that's probably how great this episode was. It was even close to the episode. It's going to be number 1, obviously. Like this is the perfect Survivor episode all in one. I think I might spend more once to get to my favorite Survivor episodes, obviously. But yeah, I mean, got winning immunity, got basically Cat sticking, being in the position of being who's in the 24 position, in a great position to be at, by the way, and deciding to basically flex. It's like, oh, I'm like the president. I think she actually said something like that in the episode, if I remember correctly. And then basically she ends up being like too bossy and basically too like, in your face about it. Cass is like, hey, let's throw out Sarah. And it leads to Tony and Archer playing their idols, obviously, and then it leads to basically, well, Sarah gave vote on 65 vote when everyone's celebrating, and then it was like, Cass, Zero chance of winning game. Like I said, be perfect for episode. That's my number one. Hope you enjoyed me talking about my favorite episodes of Survivor Season 27 32. Let me know down in the comment section what are your favorite episodes of Sports Channel Survivor. I would generally love to know down in the comment section. I am Sarah One World from Several Positions. I will see you next time as always. Stay cool up at the end. Sprinkle of positivity your way. Peace.